All right, so let's start talking about functions, and let's get our screen up and get our code set up like we want to. File. So let's go to, not Teams, we'll go here, and we'll go to File, open a folder. We'll do it just like we normally do. I'll go to my documents. I'll go to my IDI 619 class. I will do week 5. Week 05. And this is going to be example. Okay, and so let's click open. So as usual, we have nothing here. So let's go ahead and create a new file, call it index.html. All right, and I want to put in my HTML code. Let's go ahead and put that in. All right, we'll save it. Okay, so let's talk about creating a actual function here. Like I've said before, you guys have actually created some functions before. So let's go ahead and create our script tag. Okay. And let's create our function. So you saw the different ways that you can create functions. You saw the right way to create a function. I would call it the right way to create a function. It might not be the right way. It's certainly not the only way, but it's the way we're going to use it. And so let's go ahead and create a function, and we're going to call it, just like in the example, was function sum. Okay? And we'll put in number 1 and comma number 2. And we'll add our hugs, and we'll go from there. All right. And now what we want to do is we want to let total equal number 1 plus number 2. All right. And then we want to console.log total. And then what I want to do down here is I'm going to add a button just for fun. Button, and we're going to put on there add 2 plus 2. And then we're going to go ahead and add a second button. Add 3 plus 2. All right. And what do I want to put on here? Do you remember you can put on click equals. So we put our function sum parentheses 2 comma 2. And on this on click, we put sum 3 comma 2. Okay, what are we doing? Just to back it up, we wrote a function called sum. It takes number 1, number 2. Then we total number 1 and number 2 together. And then we output that to our console. And then we're done. And then what this button does, its title should be add 2 plus 2 button. And when you click on it, on click, it calls the function sum, and it takes 2, puts that in there, and 2 puts that there. It does it, and it puts it to the console. So let's see if this works. Let me save it. Let me run and debug it. Sure. I'm going to run it in probably Edge. I think I'm going to run it in Edge. We'll see what the time. Oh, no. There it is. Okay. All right. So let's get up a lot of ways we can do the console. I think we can do, what is it, F12? It's been like 2 weeks. I've had to do this. Okay, so let's go to our console right here. Let's go to our console right there. What are you doing to me today, code? Did I break it? I don't think I broke it. There we go. And now let's try it. How about you? That is really interesting. Okay. Well, let's see what happens. I think it froze. So that's kind of neat. What I'm going to do instead of doing it that way to test, because that's being really dumb, is I'm going to go ahead and open up my browser, my regular browser, and we'll actually just navigate to that page. File, open file. We'll go to documents, idea 1945. Let's open that. Okay. And we will go to develop, and we will show our JavaScript console. Can you see that? You can. If I go ahead and click add 2 plus 2, down, oh, you can't see it where that is. Bring that up for you. Oh my lord, what is going on today? Can you see the 4 there? Yeah, so 2 plus 2 gave a 4. I'll do it again. And it keeps telling you there's 3 4s, so okay. Add 3 plus 2. Came up with 5. 2 plus 2, 4, etc. So my function is working there. Sorry for why the browser wasn't working, but hey, these are real world examples of coding. Okay, so I'm able to see that I have a function and that function works. All right. There are some other things that I can do in order to, use these in a modular way. So, for example, I call this, I have this function sum. Let's say that I wanted to do something else. Like, let's say that I wanted it to go ahead and, well, actually, we're just going to leave it at this. We're going to keep the sum. So as the one video showed you, we can also return values out of a function, right? Like we don't have to just console.log them. We can do something else with them. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put return. What am I returning? Total. And I didn't do my semicolons, but again, not required, just a good idea. Okay, so I'm going to return the total. What this is going to do is it's actually going to go ahead and send it back. So when you do on click, sum 2 comma 2 is not going to actually really do anything because it doesn't, it actually sets the value. I'll show you what it does. So we'll save it. Let's open our Safari. Let's refresh it. When I go to add 2, nothing happens because there's no action. All it's really doing is it's returning, it's when you click it, it just is 4, but it doesn't say output 4, it doesn't say, anything else. So we need to do something with it. And the way that people will often do this is they use, one function in another function. And I'll explain how this can all work. So for example, if I wrote a function called add it up, and I'm going to go ahead and do n1, comma, n2. And these are overly simplistic examples. But I'm going to do console.log is equal to what? It's equal to the sum of n1, comma, n2. So it's just going to pass through, get the value. That's what the return total means. And it's going to console.log them. Okay? So let's see if this works. Change it to add it up. Add it up. Add it up. Okay, so we save that. Let's go to our code. Let's refresh it. Let's go to add 2 plus 2. It says 4. Add 3 plus 2. It says 5. And how do I know what is doing what? I might just put some text in here that says console.log. This is add it up. And I might do in this one console.log. This is sum. And I will save it. Let's do it one more time. Refresh. Add 2 plus 2. So this is added up round first. Then this is sum, you know, because this is added up. It calls sum. Then it says this is sum. And then it returns back 4, which is this code right here, console.log. So we can see how that they are kind of nested in that way. What if you had a much more sort of like realistic example, and that is a function that maybe converts Fahrenheit to Celsius? So let's try that. So if I want to, let's change it from sum, and we're gonna get rid of these. Let's just do something new. Function, I'm gonna call it I'm gonna call it F2C for Fahrenheit to Celsius. I'm going to take current temp F. And to get the current temperature to Celsius, I'm going to do let current temp C equal parentheses current temp F minus 32 divided by 9 divided by 5, 9/5. That sounds right. Okay. So it's almost dividing by 2, but not quite. All right. That should be that. Now we're going to, instead of like consoling.log it, we want this to be useful for us. So let's go ahead and return current temp C. And now we have a Fahrenheit to Celsius calculator that will just return it. But how would we want to use it? Let's do this. Let us change this from a button. Let's do an input. Sorry, input slash. And then let's put our button. Convert. Let's give our input ID equals current temp, and the button on click will convert, and we're just going to leave it as that, and you'll see why I'm doing that. I'm going to save that. Let's look at it and make sure it works. Yep. Okay, so there's that. Nothing's there. Can't find convert. Sounds perfect. Great. Okay, so now let's write a function called convert. And you're going to wonder, why don't I just do this all in one function? And the reason is because now you can convert this however you need. You can use this tool in lots of different ways. So for example, function convert, I'm not going to do I'm not going to have any parameters, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, okay, document.get element by ID, or I should say, console.log Sorry, I'm being a pain in the butt right now. Temp to be converted. So we'll do let temp to be converted equal document.element by ID, parentheses, which element in our case is current temp. And I want to put that in quotes. Okay. Dot value. Okay. And then what we want to do is we want to say let, or maybe even console.log, the old temperature is, we'll concatenate temp to be converted plus, and the new temp in Celsius is plus, and this is where we call our function. So it'd be f to c, what's the value, temp to be converted, and that should output on the console. So let's save that, refresh it. We'll look in case I get any errors. Let's put in the current temperature, 22, convert. The old temperature is 22, and the new temperature in Celsius is negative 5.5 repeating, right? So that makes sense. That's what it would be. Let's do 32. That should actually be close to 0. Yep, the old temperature is 32, and the new temperature is 0. And then let's do boiling, 212, and that should be 100. The old temperature is 212, and the new temperature in C is 100. Okay, so that is working for us. Why do I want it to be, why didn't I just make this into one big function? It's because I now have this to use on a whole bunch of different things when I want to convert, temperatures. Maybe I don't want it to be the console.log. Maybe I want it to do something else, but I always want to be just able to say F2C and get that new value. It's really useful like that. So that's why we like having these sort of like modular things, because we can build our design tools and we can build our interfaces based off of this. So let's go ahead and do another sort of like math example, or better yet, we'll do another math example, and we'll keep the theme of weather. Let's say that we want to, we can do a little loop here just for fun to show you why it's so much faster to use a function like this than just try and combine everything together. So I'm going to do something I don't usually do, which is put just code, raw code here into the script for, and we'll do, let I equal 32 while I is less than 100, I equals I plus 4. Okay. And so it'll start at 32, it'll go 32, 36, 40, etc. And while that's happening, we're going to just run console.log F2C I, and it should create a whole bunch of outputs for us. So let's load that up. And there they are. Especially with 0, 2.2, 4, 4, 6, 6, etc. So when you have these kind of like building block functions, you're able to use those, especially in things like loops. Because what loops can do then is they can keep doing the same thing over and over again. And instead of having to create a much more involved process with having this function, then maybe having a second function, or maybe having a third function, we can just leverage our time with this. Let's switch to another example where we could have some easier functions in order to, or I should say, we could do some functions that get called by something else for us to look at our example that we've already done.